Typically, when we are focused on trying to change our habits, reach goals, or make a big improvement in an area of our life, we are focused on the wrong things. We tend to be focused on the outcome, the things that we think we should be doing, and even on having the right plan. But none of those are the real key to seeing results and a difference in your life. So in this video, I'll be diving into what you really want to be putting your focus toward if you truly want to change an aspect of your life. Hello and welcome to video 2 of the Becoming 2.0 You series, a series that is dedicated to helping you show up differently, be more consistent, and stick with the goals that you have for yourself. And not from a place of pressure or perfection, but really more from learning the skills and the tools and the mindset shifts that are going to help you change how you show up for yourself. So if that is something you are interested in, make sure to hit subscribe to get notifications for each week's new video and to support the channel. Typically, when we approach goals, we are focused on the outcome and trying to get ourselves to do the things that will get us there. For example, if someone has a goal of changing their body composition or just eating healthier in general, their plan might be to buy healthier groceries and make healthier food choices. And while knowing the actions that we need to get ourselves to do is definitely important and a part of the equation, it is not really the thing that makes the difference. A mistake most of us make is focusing on the outcomes and the things we need to do instead of focusing on the patterns that actually create those. Your current patterns have created your current reality. So if you want to experience a different reality or different circumstances, such as the reality where you have healthier eating habits, where you are fit and keep up with an exercise routine, where you keep up with routines that help you keep your life organized, where you stick with your side project, where you live life in a slower, less stressed, more feminine way, whatever it is that you want or desire, the real key is in changing your patterns around that area of life. So when I say your patterns, I am talking about your habits, your tendencies, the way you typically react and respond to things. And this includes your thoughts and your mindsets that you tend to default to, your inner dialogue and the way you typically talk to yourself, the decisions you tend to make, your actions, what you typically do. For example, you can have patterns like feeling disappointed anytime things don't go your way, talking yourself out of working out, seeking comfort in food, zoning out with things like binging Netflix when you told yourself you were going to do something else, like work on a project, numbing or distracting yourself anytime you feel discomfort instead of being able to sit with the discomfort. But if you are really wanting to see results, especially results that last, then you really want to take your focus from the outcome and the specific things to do and shift your focus more to who you are becoming, shifting your typical ways of being, shifting your focus to becoming the version of yourself who does the things and thinks in the ways that are in alignment with your goals and the things that you want. For example, taking your focus away from your weight and your body composition, and instead shifting your focus to becoming the version of you who just more naturally has healthier eating habits and stays active, right? It's all about shifting your typical ways of being. And what this really comes down to is noticing, becoming aware of, and then evolving out of your go-to patterns. Anytime someone's been successful in making a big change in their life, this is ultimately what they've done. Whether they've thought about it in this way or not, this is what's really gone on. So really, it's not approaching things from a place of telling ourselves, I just need to get myself to do the thing. I just need to get myself to eat healthy. I just need to get myself to work on the project. And it's so much more about noticing what your patterns are, both your thought patterns and your action patterns around that area of life that you want to change, catching yourself before you play out that tendency and choosing to do something different, something out of your norm. So for example, let's say your pattern is to seek comfort in food when you're stressed. You tell yourself you deserve a treat, and then you order something indulgent on DoorDash, or you grab a bag of chips and suddenly you're eating until the bag is almost empty. But then you recognize and realize this is something you tend to do. This is a tendency of yours, but it is not aligned with what you want for yourself. So then you focus on starting to catch yourself when you have the urge to go seek comfort in food, when you feel stressed. And then you practice doing something different. Maybe you practice finding other ways to soothe yourself, Or maybe you still seek comfort in food, but to a way less extreme degree. And this can also be changing your patterns around how you think about things. Maybe you've labeled certain foods as being a treat, as indulgent, as super fun. And in reality, it's the media and our society that have created those labels for us, but that ties more emotion to it and deems those things more as a reward. And so maybe you change your perspectives around food because that will change your relationship to them and your actions around them. And this is the main way I actually changed a lot of my eating habits. I let go of a lot of the perspectives I held around food and chose new ones. I changed my patterned ways of thinking around it. That was the main thing that I actually saw a change through. Or as another example, maybe you have a pattern of being really avoidant with work anytime you feel overwhelmed, or when you don't feel fully competent with the task, or when you haven't been liking the results you've been getting with your work recently. But you realize this is a pattern that definitely is not benefiting you or getting you where you want to go. So you focus on noticing when you start to have that desire to be avoidant with work and choose to get yourself to do the work instead. You notice when you're starting to play out that pattern and you choose to hold yourself to doing something different. And I will just say this likely also involves seeing your work with a different mindset or changing your self-talk to be more supportive. So hopefully all this starts to paint the picture of this concept, but concepts really aren't helpful or beneficial unless we actually implement them into our lives. So here is your tangible to-do. So you want to take the specific area of life that you are wanting to change or work on and just start noticing, and not with judgment, but curiosity and neutrality. Noticing what are your patterns and tendencies with your thoughts and your decisions and your actions around that area of life. And especially paying attention to the ones that do not support or align with your goals or what you want for yourself. And then notice when you start to play out that tendency and choose to do something different instead. And this does not mean you have to do the most perfect, ideal thing, but it's just doing something different, something that is a little more aligned with your goals. You can really make it a game of whatever I normally do, I'm going to do something different. And I'm going to do something different because what I've been doing has gotten me the results I have currently, the circumstances I have currently, and that's not what I want. So in order to see a change, I need to do something different. And to me, this is really the thing to focus on. And this is a lot of times why people feel really stuck. They are so focused on the outcome and the specific things they're trying to get themselves to do, and then relying on things like motivation and discipline and willpower to get themselves to do those things, which there's definitely a time and place for. But doing that instead of being focused on actually changing their patterned way of being, instead of focusing on becoming a version of themselves that does things differently. Maybe you've tried to make changes a number of times now and haven't quite gotten to the results you wanted yet, and this is probably why. So as you go through this process and start paying more attention to this, there are a few things I really want you to keep in mind. Number one is noticing your patterns does not need to be a big deal. We do not need to label them as bad or make them mean there is something wrong with us or that we are inadequate in some way. Your ego might try to say that and tell you that, but really it is such a neutral thing. It's just simply, okay, interesting, I noticed this thing, now I have more awareness around it, and now I can choose to do something different. It's really not that serious and does not need to be a big deal. And like I mentioned earlier, we can even see it as a game we're playing with ourselves. And number two, expect some discomfort. Changing our patterns is often uncomfortable. Our brains prefer what it's familiar with. But know that you can handle discomfort and you can do things even when it feels challenging to do so. And if it feels hard, know that you're likely bumping up against a growth edge of yours, and you can see that as a sign that you're actually headed in the right direction. The patterns that feel the hardest to change often have the biggest payoff. And also know that the more you choose to do something differently, the easier it will come to you, the more natural it will feel over time. Number three, know it is so normal for your brain to come up with reasons to continue to play out whatever your tendencies have been, and to say things like, no, I really don't want to do it. I don't feel like doing it. Actually, it doesn't matter to me that much. Or I'll just do it tomorrow. Or I'll just do it this once. But the practice is to choose to do something different anyway, to not give into the comfort of our norms. I really believe it is so important to listen to ourselves and our bodies. But it's equally important to be able to question our thoughts and feelings and see if they are just an excuse or a version of us playing out a pattern of ours. And lastly, I really want to emphasize approaching all of this from a place of learning and curiosity and neutrality. That absolutely takes practice, but those are the best mindsets we can move forward with when we're trying to make a change. So to me, this is just such a helpful reframe and just tends to be far more effective. And when it comes to shifting our ways of being, sometimes it can be fairly simple and easy, but other times it really is more challenging. But there are skills and tools that you can learn that really help you in those moments. Things that help you change your way of thinking and that help you make different decisions. And those are the types of things that I will be going over the next 12 weeks. So again, if that is something you are interested in, make sure to subscribe. And if you found this video helpful at all or got any value out of it, make sure to hit the like button as it helps so much. Thank you guys so much for being here, and I hope to see you in another one. Bye.